Thank you, Vishesh Prabhu. And as you mentioned, if you're looking to get involved, there's a nice poster right outside that allows you to get more details, and you can join many of the programs. It's not just Tuesdays, it's 7 days a week that we have very nice events. So please check it out on your way out and see more details. I think before we start, I just wanted to give, well, first of all, I wanted to see if anyone's here for the very first time. Please raise your hand if you are. Oh, wow, we've got a really good group. Amazing. I want to know, just, this is not meant to be a formal session, but just in a couple words, just say what inspired you to come here in the middle of a week, like a Tuesday night, as opposed to maybe a Saturday or a Sunday. You go ahead, you're smiling. You're here with your friends, wow. And what drew you to coming here specifically? Oh, wow, see, immigration issues as well. Nice, congratulations. Congratulations, sorry. Anyone else? I saw a couple hands here. You were here for, one of you were here for the first time? You both are here. Oh, wonderful. Amazing. Amazing. That's a really good habit to do. You know, the year just started last month or a couple months ago, and everyone's trying to keep up with the resolutions. So if you're able to come to the temple as much as possible, it's a really great thing. Anyone else here for the very first time? Please go ahead. Oh, that's a good. That's a good, positive influence. What made you want to bring him here? Yeah, it's so nice to live or like be close or work close to the temple. It just allows it to be very easy to just drop by for darshan, come for lunch, dinner at Govinda's, be around nice, like-minded people. So thank you all for coming. And I promise this isn't going to be interactive. It's going to be an opportunity for us to just reveal whatever's in our mind, like Vishesh Prabhu mentioned. It can be challenges we're going through, any words of encouragement, inspiration. It's more about learning from each other and practicing spiritual life. As we all know, it's very hard for us to practice, bhakti or devotional service alone. Sometimes if we're in our room, we find that our minds go in different directions and we're lost, and our mind will say, do this instead or do that. But when we commit to a fixed time daily, it can be Tuesday at 6:30 or it can be another day of the week, just saying that I'm going to spend an hour or 2 hours around people and just sit here and listen and enjoy the association. It's a lot easier to do as a group. And that's why we call this Tuesday Sanga. Sanga means association. And the power of association in spiritual life is very, very strong. It's one of the main practices that devotees do. So really grateful to have you here. The way we'll start off today's program is we'll do a little bit of mantra meditation or japa. We'll chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra together as a group. And then we'll read from Bhagavad Gita. Every week on Tuesdays, we read a certain section, and we continue from where we left off the prior week. And what we do is we read a verse in Sanskrit, and then the English and the translation. And we try to just share our reflections, realizations, and we ask ourselves, what does this mean for me? Because sometimes when people receive the Bhagavad Gita, they often think that, how do I apply this in my day-to-day life? It seems very over my head maybe, or just difficult to interpret. So what we want to do is when we're around each other, we can learn from each other and understand what is it that Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita. So an opportunity for reflection, and then 8 o'clock, the Aarti will start again, and you're welcome to please stay and just enjoy the evening that way. So with that, we'll just pass along the japa beads. If you can help. I know we've got a few people who are here for the very first time. Who here has chanted on japa beads before? So 3, and then we've got about 7, 8 people who haven't. So wonderful. It's always good to, come here to practice for the first time. And what we'll do is just give you a little bit of background about the Maha Mantra before we practice. It's always important to understand why are we doing what we're doing. Has anyone practiced any type of yoga before by any chance? Like any form of yoga that you've practiced before? No? first, please go ahead, yes. What time have you practiced? Right. You've done body movements and breath. Wonderful. And how do you feel after practicing? Alive, yes. So it's really nice to bring yoga into our lives. And I'm sure all of you have heard of bhakti yoga. Bhakti means devotion. So we're practicing the yoga of love or devotion. And the type of yoga that we practice is called japa. One of the types of practices of bhakti yoga is japa or mantra meditation. And this focuses on the sound vibration. And the reason I asked if anyone has practiced yoga is sometimes people have been to different yoga centers, and oftentimes we're asked to just stand still or lay still for a bit. But what do we find that we experience when we're kind of motionless or we're closing our eyes? Sometimes you've practiced it. Is it easy sometimes? It is. Yeah, so it takes effort, and then the more effort we put into it, the more we get out of it. But often, I don't know if anyone's had the experience when they've done yoga where their mind just goes in different directions. It's very difficult, right? Sometimes people say don't think of anything, but that's impossible to do. So this form of japa is a little bit more practical. It allows us to be fixed on the sound vibration. And in this day and age, you may have heard of Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is the current age we're living in. It's called the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. We're very much distracted. People are very much in an argumentative mood. But there's an easy solution that has been brought for us to practice, and that's this mantra meditation or chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. It's on this wall it's on this stand-up banner right here that you see. So I'm sure many of you have heard of this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. What we're going to do is do this as a group together for it'll take about 5 to 10 minutes to chant one full round. And we'll go at a nice, slow, steady pace where we focus on the sound. And it's natural that the mind is going to drift. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna tells Krishna that the mind is more difficult to control than the wind. So that speaks volumes to just how much the mind, can flicker. But one thing that we can do if our mind drifts is that we just bring it back to the sound vibration. And don't be too hard on yourself if you find it going in different directions. It's natural, and we just have to be focused and make sure that we bring it back if we feel so. So this is a very special mantra, and has everyone heard of the Hare Krishna mantra, or is it new to anyone here for the very first time? Okay, so I see some heads nodding, but let's just do it together to repeat. So everyone has these japa beads, and if you use your right hand, you keep your index finger out. That doesn't come in contact, but place your finger just to the right of this head bead. So this is called the head bead. We don't chant on this bead, but we chant on the bead right next to it. And you can keep one thumb on the top and keep your middle finger underneath, and then keep your index finger, this finger, out. And then what we do is there's 108 beads here. So it takes about, as mentioned, 5 to 10 minutes to chant one full round of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And we're going to go at a very slow, not very slow, but at a steady pace that we can hear ourselves pronouncing the mantra, and just repeat it loud enough that you can hear it as well. Before we start, let's just repeat the mantra together. So I'll count to 3 and let's start. So 1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So wonderful. So what we're going to do now is we're going to chant one full round together for about 5 to 10 minutes. And as mentioned, just try to hear yourself repeating the mantra. And at the end, I just want to hear, just like I asked, what brought you here, in a couple words, what is it that you felt as you were practicing? Just, like she was mentioning, she felt alive. Maybe you'll have different words as well. And it's be interesting to see how everyone feels when they're practicing. So with that, let's start. I'm just going to chant a brief prayer to seek auspiciousness, and then after that, we're going to start with the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So, Jai Shri Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just three more times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's do it 3 more times, and then we'll pause there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in this chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That was a good, I think, 10 minutes that we did collectively as chanting. I wanted to ask, how does everyone feel? Just in 1 or 2 words, what did you feel? What did you experience? Feel free to just, you don't have to raise your hand or just mention anything that comes to mind. Yes, go ahead. Very present, like you're here. Wonderful. Nice. That's a very good sign, especially when you're starting off chanting like that. It's a very nice thing. What do you think helped you be present? Listening. Right. Wonderful. That's a really nice reflection. Thank you. Anyone else in terms of how you felt? Sorry, can you say it again? Need to learn the Maha Mantra better with the mind. Yeah, it's the beads too. Yeah. The beads gives us a bit of a measuring point to know that as we're chanting, we have to make progress by going to the next one. There's no hard or fast rule for chanting. Some people chant, we should chant with beads, but if we don't have beads with us, we can chant out loud. We can wake up early and chant as well. Any other feelings or thoughts of what you felt as you were chanting? Peace. Yeah. Can you elaborate further with what you felt? Nice. So your thoughts were kind of put on hold, and you just felt at tune with yourself. You felt composed, relaxed. You feel connected. Nice. Yes. Yeah. So you're saying your thoughts go in like one direction or the other, but when you chant, it keeps it focused. Right. Yeah, it's always nice to chant with your eyes closed sometimes, because otherwise you'll just be looking around. You can get distracted, like someone's walking here, and then you're wondering where the noise is coming from. But if you close your eyes, then it's just you and the sound vibration. So at best, if you're able to do that, that's a good way to practice. Any other final thoughts, reflections on chanting? Yes. Yeah. Nice. That's a very nice reflection. Did you say chant? You said chanting before bedtime. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's a really nice point. Especially, I don't know if anyone's had this experience, but like sometimes whatever you do before bed, you can kind of feel it when you're sleeping, right? It has an effect in your dreams, your thoughts, and sometimes, I know people have a tendency sometimes to scroll through social media, and that also affects your ability to sleep properly. Sometimes, whatever you watched on social media is with you as you're dreaming, but if you're chanting the Maha Mantra, then naturally, what's that? You wake up happier, yeah, and you're thinking of Krishna, and you're feeling much better. And we all want to think of Krishna, at the end of our life. So what better thing to do than chanting before bed? Chanting before bed and chanting early in the morning, as early as possible. Does anyone know why it's very healthy or a good practice to chant early as possible in the morning? Any thoughts? Yes, yeah. Do you want to expand further? Yes. Yeah. So like that time of the day when you notice when before the sun rises, it's very calm, very peaceful. You look outside, there's no cars on the road, there's no like foot traffic. Everyone's most likely asleep. So as you're chanting, you're waking up, you feel that it's only you that's present there. And as the sun rises, it's a very auspicious thing that the sun is rising as well. And um, in any interaction of the world, it's said that there's three modes that are at play. There's the mode of goodness, there's the mode of passion, and then there's the mode of ignorance. And we've all seen the mode of passion. If you've walked outside sometimes late in the evening, maybe on a Friday night or a Saturday night, what's happening outside generally? People are like running out to parties, or they're in that mode of wanting to really be passionate. But what do you see in the morning at Brahma Muhurta, or what do you see? Which mode do you see at that time of the day? A slower pace, and more of the mode of goodness, right? Everything is calm. There's no real like heavy, intense activity happening, and Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that it's much easier to practice spiritual life in the mode of goodness, because in the mode of goodness, one knows what's right, what's wrong, and able to discriminate between, good and bad. And in the mode of goodness, the surroundings are a lot more peaceful. So the main thing we'd like to, you can chant any time of the day, but if you're able to chant when you wake up early, it makes a big difference because it's an auspicious time in the morning. But also, like you mentioned, when you were chanting, you said you felt very present. And imagine starting your day, you've chanted, it could be 1 round, it can be 4 rounds, it can be 8 rounds. But how many of you are working right now? Just raise your hands if you're working. Like, what happens when you wake up for work or wake up in the morning? What comes to your mind? Like, what's that? Reach reach work on time. Anything else? Meetings? Anyone else? You want to sleep in? Maybe tomorrow because it's supposed to be a snowstorm. So hopefully you don't have to go to the office. But these are all experiences we have when we wake up. Is that it's like I've got to respond to that email. I have to get to work on time and make sure my bus doesn't leave or subway doesn't leave. All a feel of rush. Yeah, and we're just in that mode all the time. But when we chant our rounds early in the morning and we're practicing this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, like you said, it makes us feel present. And when we're present, our mind isn't gravitating towards all these things as much. We're actually in control of our thoughts, and we can just make the right decisions. And imagine starting your day. Who here, sometimes has woken up later than they expected, and they're just rushing out to work? I think we've all had that experience, right? And we feel like we haven't even had a chance to reset or think properly of what we want to do. But imagine if you woke up at 5:30, if you woke up, during Brahma Muhurta and you've chanted a little bit for half an hour or so, and you still have a good maybe hour and a half, 2 hours before you have to leave for work. Then you just feel that you've got so much more to do in the morning. And people have even said, like those who are very successful, that when you wake up in the morning early, you actually are a lot more productive and you're more efficient than waking up late and rushing out. So this is the same thing in spiritual life, that when we wake up early and we commit to doing something, um, is there, I don't know what that noise is, by the way, but hopefully it's not distracting, it's just ringing. But if we wake up early and we commit to this practice, we'll find that it'll actually help us in our work life and day-to-day activities, because we'll have this edge over anyone else we interact with, where we feel we're present, we're composed, and our distractions are really not there. And the Maha Mantra allows us to achieve the state of peace, equilibrium, and just allow us to be very, very calm and relaxed. So I think everyone shared such nice reflections of the Maha Mantra, and what we ask is, especially if it's your very first time, to please make this a commitment. Spend at least, it can be 5 minutes, it can be, 15 minutes, it can be an hour, but just start each morning if possible to just chant this Maha Mantra. It only took us, 10 minutes to do here. So you can wake up in your home and say that I'm going to set the alarm or whatever, and I'm going to spend amount of time to just chant. And if you haven't, if you don't have these beads, please take this with you, these beads with you, and just make that commitment to chant one round. And one thing that you see here, I've got this is called the japa bag or a bead bag. You actually keep the beads inside here, and it just allows the beads to be, well protected. It doesn't come in contact with the floor. So if you're interested in getting this, you can also pick it up at the gift shop right around the corner. It's just a few dollars. And another thing that I have here, does anyone know what this is, by the way? No, this is actually called like a counter. So some of us have made like a commitment that we're going to chant a certain number of rounds daily, because once we make that commitment, it becomes easier to have a goal. I don't know if any of you have done goal setting for your job, or you've done goal setting. Everyone's laughing because no one likes that, right? So in the same way in spiritual life, we also set goals of what we want to do to improve year over year. And some of us make a goal that we're going to chant a certain number of rounds. So what this is basically a set of beads that allows us to track how many rounds we're chanting. And every time we've chanted one, we just pull it down and we count how many that we have in total. And then that says, okay, I've reached my, goal for the day. If I like, I can do more, but at least I know that I've done this amount. So this is also available, only a couple dollars in the Matchless gift shop right around the corner. So if you don't have this, please consider getting a japa bag and a counter, and it's readily available there. Hopefully it'll inspire you to do a little bit more of your japa practice. So please keep that with you. And now we're going to do something really nice. We're going to read together from the Bhagavad Gita. We're just going to learn about how to apply it to our day-to-day life in a group setting. Just as you mentioned, when you're in a group, you learn a lot more, and we can actually share reflections, questions that we have as well. So I'm just going to pass this out. I hope we have enough. If not, if you came in pairs, please just share if possible. I think we Oh, you can remove this. That's just an extra. That was just part of the packing, so you can remove that. Yeah. it's a it's a special. Yeah, it was nice. He was really appreciating the book. It's like I don't even want to do any mistake with that. So does everyone have a copy? If not, please share. I think we may have. I think we have. I think we have enough for everyone. So who here does not have, or who here hasn't heard of the Bhagavad Gita? So everyone here has heard of the Bhagavad Gita? Amazing. So in a couple words again, what does, do you have a copy? You share? Okay, perfect. A couple words or less, what does the Bhagavad Gita mean to you? There's no right or wrong answer here, by the way. It's very personal. Okay, so I've heard life lessons. Anything else? Amazing. So life lessons, way to live life. What else? Yeah, that's a very straightforward but truthful representation. Conversation between Krishna and his dear friend Arjuna. So we've heard way to live life, um, conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. Anything else? Answers to all the questions. Yeah, that's so. I'm hearing a lot of things that are pertaining to our life, things that we ask and look for answers about. Any other, any other thoughts? Do you have any suggestions? A guide to live positive life. Wonderful. It's so nice to hear everyone's appreciation for the Bhagavad Gita, and that's really what it is. It's a guidebook. When I think of Bhagavad Gita, I think of one is how to make the right decisions, how to navigate through the ups and downs. Just like Arjuna, when he was put into difficulty, he was thinking to himself, what do I do in this situation in the battlefield? And Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, but he ultimately gave it for all of our benefit, that we can practice this as well. So it's a guidebook to live life. It's a guidebook to make right decisions. I would also add that even more than that, in addition to that actually, and more than that, it's how to connect with Krishna and be his devotee. Yes, yes. So the Bhagavad Gita is compact with so much insight. It talks about, what do I do when I'm in this situation? What do I do when I'm in that situation? Many self-help teachings base their books off of the Bhagavad Gita. But furthermore, it's about, how do I develop my relationship with Krishna as his devotee, and how do I render service? And by doing that, all our other problems in life will be solved, because the solutions to material problems are spiritual as well. So the Bhagavad Gita is so detailed. And does anyone know why this, actually before that, you'll see in the back, there's many famous personalities, Henry David Thoreau, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Mahatma Gandhi, that have praised the Bhagavad Gita as well. So this is something that's been read by many well-known individuals and has been shared throughout the world. And this version of the Bhagavad Gita is most special, the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Does anyone know why this is called Bhagavad Gita as it is, by the way? No? Okay, so flip through any page of the book. Just go to any page. What do you see? Just, you can say out loud, what do you see when you go to any page? Shlokas? Yes. Shlokas. And is there anything else that you see? What in what what specifically about the shlokas do you see? What specifically, is there anything specific about the shlokas? Like the text, maybe karma, what? Sanskrit, right? So that's also one thing. So Bhagavad Gita as it is, one of the reasons it's called Bhagavad Gita as it is when you go to any page of this book and you see a text, you actually see, this is very rare. Everyone knows that Sanskrit is a very rare language. It's rare. It's not very much spoken. But what you see is the actual translation from Sanskrit to English, word for word. So this is actually what Lord Krishna had spoken 5,000 years ago to Arjuna, and it's been translated in its original form so that nothing has been changed, because there's different interpretations of the Bhagavad Gita, but it's so important that nothing gets lost over time. So for this reason, Lord Krishna, his teachings have been translated word for word as he spoke in Sanskrit to English. So we're very fortunate that we can appreciate the Bhagavad Gita in its original form and understand that there's actually really no difference between being on the battlefield and being right here in the temple, because we're getting the same information that Lord Krishna had spoken to Arjuna. And spiritual knowledge is not, you don't have to be present at a particular place. It emanates through the sound vibration. The other thing I wanted to show you, this is really interesting. If you go to page 30, page 30. What do you see on page 30? You can read, sorry, yes, read out what you just said. Disciplic succession. Does anyone know what disciplic succession is, or parampara? Yes. Right. So Lord Krishna, as mentioned, spoke the Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago. And then this is Lord Krishna passes the knowledge. You've heard of Lord Brahma, right? And Narad Muni, Vyasadeva, then you see Madhva. So what's being emphasized here is that it's called Bhagavad Gita as it is because the teachings have been passed along in its proper form. It's not that it was just spoken and then someone else did not receive that knowledge and it got lost and it's just being misinterpreted now. But what it actually is saying is that this was spoken by Lord Krishna and it got shared along. So the Bhagavad Gita is the original form of, this is called Bhagavad Gita as it is in its original form because it has the Sanskrit verses and also it has the actual disciplic succession or parampara. So nothing is lost. And this is the most authentic version of the Bhagavad Gita, as you can see by the verses and the fact that there's a disciplic succession. And has everyone heard of Srila Prabhupada, by the way? Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada? No one has heard? Okay. So Prabhupada is actually who you see right there, right, sitting in the murti right in the center. So Srila Prabhupada is the one who had translated this Bhagavad Gita into English so that all of us can understand. His photo is actually right in the back of this book, and his story is quite amazing. There's actually a book called Prabhupada Biography that's available here, and Prabhupada Lilamrita that speaks about his life. He came to America in 1965, and he was 69 years old. He was born in 1896, and he came to America in 1965 at 69 years of age. And he had a instruction from his guru, or his teacher, spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he said to go and preach in the West. And Prabhupada had made this commitment in his life towards the end that he wanted to go and share this knowledge. So he came on a boat, he left India on a boat, and he suffered, I think, 2 or 3 heart attacks along the way. It was such a rough ride with the river shaking and everything. And he went through so much challenges. He didn't have anyone here when he came to US, America, to meet him or to, host him properly. He struggled along the way, but if you're wondering why he did this, it was a great deal of compassion. This is what devotees of the Lord do. They see the suffering of the conditioned souls, the jivas, and they make those who are realized go about and share this so that they can all benefit. So, we're all here because of Srila Prabhupada, because he translated this book. The reason we have these temples, ISKCON temples, is because Prabhupada had come to America, to Canada, went all over the world and established these temples. So we're very fortunate. And Prabhupada is actually the last name that you see on page 30 because he's considered a representative of the Lord. So what he's teaching is coming directly from Lord Krishna, and Krishna's, he's speaking Lord Krishna's words in the form of this Bhagavad Gita and the translations. So you'll see that any page that you go to, it has the Sanskrit shloka, it has the word-for-word translation from Sanskrit to English, and then furthermore, it has a purport. And what a purport is a description of what the verse means. Because when we read the Bhagavad Gita, as I mentioned at the beginning, it may be a little bit difficult for us to understand. What is it that Lord Krishna is actually saying here? Like, am I supposed to do this or am I supposed to do that? But what Prabhupada did was he made it practical and relatable to say, look, this is what the verse means. This is what Lord Krishna is intending to say. And when one is purified and is a pure devotee of the Lord, like Lord Srila Prabhupada is, then they can directly understand what the Lord is saying because their heart is pure and they're in direct connection with the Lord himself. So in this way, what Prabhupada is saying is directly what Lord Krishna is saying as well. So this is why we read from Bhagavad Gita as it is specifically. There's 700 verses in total, and there's 18 chapters. And as mentioned, all of you mentioned, it's a guidebook on life, a way to make the right decisions. And what we're going to do right now, it's going to be very fun. It's going to be interactive. So we're going to start off by reading some verses. If you like, you can even volunteer to read a verse, and then we'll share some reflections, and we'll keep going. And and then when it becomes 8 o'clock, we'll start the arti as well. So this is something we do every Tuesdays, and as mentioned, we continue from where we left off. So we'll continue. I just need to quickly check where we left off last week because there was a different speaker. So just give me 10 seconds. I'm just going to get my phone and check. So as mentioned, just please stay here as long as you can. It's not that you committed, but I guarantee you that if you spend some time reading this Bhagavad Gita, you'll take so much more out of this next half hour that we have than perhaps doing it alone. And it can, generally I've seen this as, it can transform your life in a very, very positive way. So I hope you're able to stay as long as you can from that standpoint. So we're just continuing from where we left off. Right now we're on, so if you go to chapter 10 and verse 18, I'm going to just tell you which page we're on. 10.18. So that is, I think it's page 400. 440. So is everyone on page 440? 440. So this is a very special chapter. It's called the Opulence of the Absolute. And in this chapter, Lord Krishna describes all his opulences to Arjuna. Now, as you know, Krishna he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he possesses so many different qualities. This chapter talks about all the different qualities the Lord has, or a few of the qualities, not all, because his qualities are limitless, and how things that we see in this material world can be tied back to the Lord as well. So we'll start from page 440. Would anyone like to read text 18? We read the Sanskrit and English. I can read the Sanskrit, and then if anyone likes to read the English, we can also do that as well. So we'll start from Sanskrit. Vishtarenatmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana uyu kataya pritvirhi shrinvato nasti nemitam. Would anyone like to read the English by any chance? Okay, I'll read this verse, and then if anyone else likes to, we can join. So, O Janardana, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you. For the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. So now we're going to read the purport, which Prabhupada describes what this verse means. So, purport. A similar statement was made to Shuta Goswami by the rishis of Naimisharanya, headed by Sonaka. The statement is Vayam tu na vritit pyama utama shloka vikrame yat shinvatam rasagyanam svadu svadu pare pare. One can never be satiated even though one continually hears the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, who is glorified by excellent prayers. Those who have entered into a transcendental relationship with Krishna relish at every step the descriptions of the pastimes of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam 119. Thus, Arjuna is interested in hearing about Krishna, and specifically how he remains as the all-pervading Supreme Lord. Now, as far as Amritam, nectar, is concerned, any narration or statement concerning Krishna is just like nectar, and this nectar can be perceived by practical experience. Modern stories, fiction, and histories are different from the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, in that one will tire of hearing mundane stories, but one never tires of hearing about Krishna. It is for this reason only that the history of the whole universe is replete with references to the pastimes of the incarnations of Godhead. The Puranas are histories of bygone ages that relate the pastimes of the various incarnations of the Lord. In this way, the reading matter remains forever fresh despite repeated readings. So we just read from text 18. And what is Arjuna saying to Krishna here? He's appreciating that he never gets tired of hearing about Krishna, that the more he hears, the more he wants to taste the nectar of your words. Has anyone read any stories in general? Like just general stories. It can be like, stories you've heard in school, perhaps a story or a book that you got from the bookstore. How many times do you read that story? Like, have you ever done it many times? Just once, right? Or have you ever read a textbook that you have to study for in terms of exams? You never, like you get tired of it, right? Because what is it? It's just theoretical knowledge that you feel is dry, mundane. But you've heard of Krishna's pastimes. Does anyone remember any pastimes of Krishna that come to mind? It can be anything that you've heard. Eating butter, like stealing butter. Stealing and eating butter. Yeah, I think there's a nice photo you see where Krishna's like putting his hands into a pot and then the butter's being mischievous. Any other nice pastimes of Krishna? Playing the flute. Yeah, that's a very nice pastime as well. Even in the altar, you'll see Krishna playing the flute when the doors open at 8 o'clock. And that flute is all attractive. It catches the attention of all his beloved devotees. So everything, whether it's Krishna's, form, whether it's his paraphernalia, like the flute that he carries, or whether it's his qualities, everything is very much attractive to the devotees of the Lord. What other pastimes of Krishna do you remember, or you feel attracted by? You can even look across. You see these photos that you see in the temple? So if there's one that, reminds you of something, please share that as well. How famous he was with the gopis. Yeah, they're his most dear devotees. So yes, that's a very nice example as well. Anything else? I think I see here, what do you see in that photo over there? Second one. Govardhan. Yeah, does everyone know the pastime of Lord Krishna lifting Govardhan? And the left finger, pinky finger. And Indra had unleashed torrents of rain. And Lord Krishna had held up the hill. And we celebrate Govardhan every year as well. And then let's do one more. There's the butter one right there, you see. There's so many different pastimes of the Lord that we experience. And when we talk, one thing I noticed as I was asking everyone was smiling. Everyone was like enthused. And this is the same story that we hear multiple times, right? It's not something that you just heard for the first time. If I told you, like, look, pulled out like a physics book and asked, to give your reflections, you're not going to be as happy about it. But the point is that Krishna's all attractive. We're attracted by his flute, by his form, all the wonderful activities he does for his devotees. Krishna, when he descends in this world, he's performing multiple activities. One, he kills the demons that we see, but he also engages in so much nice pastimes for the pleasure of his devotees. And all of us here are his devotees. We're here at the temple for a reason. We're here to offer, our love to Krishna. And for all of us, we become very much pleased when we hear about Krishna as well. And that's the same reason when we chant, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we're repeating his names as well. So all these pastimes of Krishna are very much relishable. And every year here in the temple, we celebrate so many festivals. Does anyone know any festivals that come to mind that we celebrate here? Janmastami. And what do we do during Janmastami? Celebrate Krishna's birth. And that may include, what would that include possibly, like practically? Like when you say celebrate, what what is it that you... Yeah, and we may read about its birth. You know, there's a book called Krishna book that talks all about the pastimes. If you don't have the Krishna book, please consider taking a copy with you. And during Janmastami, it's very much common for us to learn about Krishna's birth and all the activities that he did. What other festivals do we celebrate here at the temple? Radhastami, yes. So Srimati Radharani's appearance day as well, who you see on the altar next to Krishna as well. And there we learn about more about Srimati Radharani and her love for Krishna also. Any other festivals? Radhayatra, yes. So that's another example of a festival that we celebrate as well. And thank you for coming. If you don't have a copy, no, that's okay. If you don't have a copy, please consider taking a copy of the Gita as well. And we'll have another special festival that we're celebrating on March 3rd. Does anyone know what that is? Thank you. So that's Gaura Purnima, which is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. And we'll see Lord Chaitanya in the altar who's on the left, that he appeared. And Lord Chaitanya is said to be, please feel free to move up if you like. He's none other than Lord Krishna himself, who brought the Mahamantra here so that we can all learn and benefit as well. So the point that's being made here is there's so many festivals to celebrate: Janmastami, Radhastami, Radhayatra, Gaura Purnima. And what we do during these festivals, we sing, we dance, we chant, we worship the Lord, but we also do what Arjuna described, which is hearing about the Lord. And the more and more we hear, the more and more we get that deeper connection to Krishna. Like we may see in our day-to-day life, we hear so many different things, right? Sometimes we hear the news, sometimes we hear music, sometimes we hear our boss getting angry at us. But none of that is actually pleasure. But Krishna Katha, or stories of the Lord, are extremely relishable, and it has this potency that when we hear, it cleanses our heart and it makes us situated in so much happiness and bliss. So this is what Arjuna is describing to Krishna as well, that we get this opportunity to hear, and that's what we're doing right now. We're hearing about the Bhagavad Gita. We're hearing directly from Lord Krishna's words. What is it that he spoke to Arjuna? And we get to hear about Krishna's pastimes in the form of all these different activities that we described, like Govardhan, the lifting of Govardhan Hill, Radhastami, everything like that. So hearing is one of the most important processes of devotional service, and it doesn't require a lot of effort. You just come to the temple and you just give your ears to the speaker or anyone else, or hear yourself chanting the Mahamantra, and the spiritual sound vibration is strong in itself that it just changes one's consciousness. That's why we make this commitment to chant the Mahamantra, because I think the lady who was here earlier, she said that she felt very present. And because I'm hearing the sound of everyone around me. So when we put that sound vibration that's pure, that's not contaminated materially, that comes from the spiritual world, like the Mahamantra, it allows us to experience the spiritual realm and allows us to be so happy and so blissful. So just like Arjuna, let's develop that desire to want to hear and hear more and more about Krishna's pastimes. Maybe if we're going to work, instead of hearing certain types of music, we can hear about a story of Krishna on YouTube, or we can hear kirtan. There's so many nice kirtan melodies and nice devotees singing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that's a very nice, powerful process of hearing also. So that was just a section of what we read in terms of text 18. Is there any reflections or anything that anyone would like to share from what they heard or just read from this section about hearing? So this is Arjuna's describing to Krishna the importance of hearing. So now we'll move on to the next text, text 19. Would anyone like to read text 19? You'd like to read? Okay. Please go ahead. If there's another copy, maybe you can pass it along to someone as well. So text 19 is continuing from page 441, and this is now Krishna responding to Arjuna's question about describing the mystic power of his opulences. So please read, Prabhu. If you like, you can read the Sanskrit also. Okay, I'll read the Sanskrit, and then you can read the English. So, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Antate Katayashyami Divyahi Atma Vibhutaya Pradamyanta Kurushetra Nastiyanto Vishtarasya Me. So you can read, it's on page 442, text 19. Pradanyataha. Thank you so much for reading that. So, would anyone agree that sometimes Krishna is difficult to understand? He is, right? Sometimes, he's very mysterious with his pastimes. And it's very interesting that sometimes different people see Krishna in different ways. Sometimes people cannot even recognize Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Those who are envious of him cannot appreciate who he is. But then there's his dearmost devotees, his most elevated devotees like the gopis, the devotees in Goloka Vrindavan. They see Krishna as just this young boy that's very amazing. They don't even see him as God, right? And then there's a description that in like Vaikuntha planets, there's forms of Krishna's expansions where they see him as Narayan and very opulent. So what's being said here is that it's very, very difficult to understand who Krishna is. He performs very miraculous pastimes. Has anyone heard of that pastime where Lord Brahma had stolen the cows from Krishna? So there was a pastime where Lord Brahma, he had stolen the cows and he said, I'll just steal these cows that Krishna was, herding and taking care of. And he was not able to realize who Krishna was. And then after Krishna, he offered his deepest prayers to the Lord. So Krishna sometimes comes in our lives in so many different ways, and um, we're not able to understand fully who he is. But the main thing is that through the process of bhakti, the more we develop our relationship with him, then he starts revealing his true self to us. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, according to one's level of surrender, I reward them accordingly. So when one is really dedicated to serving the Lord, when they're chanting daily, when they're reading about Krishna's pastimes, then they start developing that relationship of wanting to serve the Lord. And when their life is molded in a way where they're constantly engaged in his service, then the Lord starts revealing himself to Arjuna. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also tells Arjuna that because you are my friend and you are not envious of me, I'll impart this knowledge to you. So just like all of us, when we're around others, would you share everything about yourself to everyone? You shaking your head. Who would you share it with? Yes, we'll take you. Go ahead. Yeah, and then to your friends. So anyone who's in your close circle that you've really felt connected to as well. So in the same way, Krishna is also a person, and he will reveal himself fully to those who are close to him. And who is most closest to him? In general. Yeah, devotees. Yeah, so everyone that's worshiping him, he will reveal himself. But those who are not his friends, what ends up happening to them? What's his relationship with them? He's not really responsive, right? And in the last section of this paragraph, the last paragraph, it says, the impersonalist or pantheist cannot understand the exceptional opulences of the Supreme Lord, nor the manifestations of his divine energies. So Krishna is only able to show himself to those who are his devotees. And I don't know if any of you had this experience, but sometimes devotees will say that I had a really nice experience where Krishna showed up in my life. And it could have been that a prayer was made, in front of the altar, or maybe that some service was done in the temple. And then the next day, there was something that happened magically, and this was Krishna's reciprocation. Has anyone had that type of experience? Yes. Would you like to share, or is it? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Yes. So this is such a nice practical experience that you just showed us about how the Lord is so much present in our lives, that he's always thinking about us. His devotees are so dear to him that he is always thinking of, he says, the thoughts of my devotees dwell in me. Yes. Yeah. So Krishna is very kind. It's said that you take one step towards Krishna, Krishna takes 10 steps towards you. Who's willing to do that in this day and age? Oftentimes it's transactional, right? You do this for me, I do that for you. But Krishna's not thinking like that. But he also does not want to interfere with our free will. He wants to give us the choice. or else then what's the point of, you know, like existing? Yeah, right. It's your choice, and love love cannot be forced upon someone. It's it's something that's done out of one's own heart. In that same way, Krishna cannot is not going to force someone to come towards him. He's going to allow that person to um, maybe learn from their own experiences and make that decision themselves. So this is how kind Krishna is, that he's waiting for all of us, and he's deeply thinking about us, but at the same time, he doesn't want to interfere from with our free will. He wants us to make that step towards him. And if we make that step, then we find that Krishna is very much present in our lives. And like you mentioned, the more steps we make towards him and surrender towards him, the more he's deeply, deeply involved in our life. And our life becomes perfect. All the things that have been troubling us, Krishna will take away if we surrender completely to him. He says in chapter 18 that abandon all varieties of religion and surrender unto me. I will protect you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. We're all fearful in this world. We're all thinking, what's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen to my job? What's going to happen to my family, my friends? It can be anything. There's so much uncertainty. But if we surrender to Krishna and we give our love to him, we don't have to worry because he's taking direct charge of our lives. And who wouldn't want that? What can we do as individuals to try to make an outcome go in our favor? We know that life is full of ups and downs, but when Krishna is deeply present in our lives, then there's nothing to fear, as he tells Arjuna. So this is what we want to do in our life, is think about ways to bring Krishna in. And there's no difficulty because it's not that we give up our engagements that we're doing in this world, but we're just adding Krishna to our activities. And that may mean that we cook for Krishna. That may mean that we, come to the temple and hear about Krishna. It may mean that um, our desire for hearing instead of listening to the news or music becomes hearing about Krishna's pastimes or listening to kirtan. That's all we have to do. And it's very, very practical. So we can live a life that we're living right now, but we just add Krishna. And that's how we bring Krishna into our life. And the more and more we do that, we find a transformation in our hearts. Many of us, including myself and other devotees, have said how much, they remember the first time they came, they started practicing, and then 1 year later, 5 years later, completely transformed. And it's something that they could not do on their own, but because Krishna's present and he's bestowing his mercy, that he allows us to appreciate and go deeper as well. So in this way, for us to know Krishna, it's difficult to know Krishna, but we should make the effort. And the more we know Krishna, the more that he reciprocates and allows us to experience this. So let us, just follow that way and practice in a way that can be understood. And what this chapter, as mentioned in the last section, is, it says that now Krishna is describing what can be directly perceived by the common man. Thus, part of his variegated energy is described in this way. So he's making it very practical. He's going to now explain in this world, how can you relate things that you see to Krishna, because not everyone can understand Krishna in complete, but we can find a way to connect to Krishna in terms of our day-to-day activities as well. So we'll move on to text. Before we continue, does anyone have any thoughts, reflections, questions that they'd... Yeah, so what's meant by that is, well, the starting point is bringing Krishna into our life. talking to Krishna is a very elevated position, and as we saw here, to be able to reach that platform requires us to follow some practices. What has been laid out by Srila Prabhupada, our founder, is sadhana bhakti. Sadhana means following certain practices. And right now, it's difficult for us to really be able to have a conversation because there's so many other things in our mind that are distracting us. We may think that we're having a conversation, but it may not be necessarily that it's with Krishna, for example. For all of us who are practicing, we should take the guidance of, there's mentors, there's seniors, there's gurus, there's other devotees, and there's also books like the Bhagavad Gita. When we start practicing according to the guidelines and directions, then our heart becomes cleansed, and we can actually start speaking and start getting direction from the Lord. It's said that the Lord exists in our heart as the Paramatma. Has anyone heard of Paramatma? That's the Lord within our hearts. But there's also the analogy that says that there's like two birds sitting on a tree. One bird is enjoying the fruits of his or her activities, and the other bird is watching. So we're like that bird who's enjoying, and the other bird is just watching. And we want to be able to come to that point where we turn our direction to that other bird. And that can only be done through proper practice and guidance. And the ways to do that is very practical. There's the first practice, there's one practice of devotional service is called Shravanam, or hearing. And what we do is we hear from the Bhagavad Gita, we hear the Maha Mantra, and that in itself has the potency to cleanse our heart. Unless our heart is fully cleansed, we cannot really be able to have that connection with Krishna, because Krishna is fully pure, and he reveals, like we said, according to our level of surrender. So the more we go deeper into it, and we feel that transformation in the heart, then we can actually have that understanding of who Krishna is. So we may not be able to, spend 4 or 5 hours reading, and that's not, we have to add Krishna to our life in a way that works. And for some of us, it's certain activities like they'll wake up in the morning and listen to a class, or they'll chant for a bit of time the Maha Mantra, or they'll cook for Krishna. But what's happening is gradually their activities that we're doing before is being spiritualized, rather than cooking for themselves. By cooking for Krishna and offering it to him, then they're getting the mercy of the Lord and they're performing those activities. As mentioned, rather than reading certain books that don't elevate their consciousness, by reading the Bhagavad Gita, then they're going deeper into their spiritual life. So the more we add Krishna into our life, the more we're able to really be the recipient of his mercy. And then we get a sense of him being directly involved. So it's a practice. It's a practice that's been outlined by Srila Prabhupada, and it's something that we do. If anyone comes outside this temple, you'll see a sign that says open from 4:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. There's a morning program that takes place. If you're here, you can come at 4:30, or you can come at 7 o'clock when there's also arti. If you come, you sing, you dance in front of Krishna, and you make this commitment, and Krishna will see you in the altar. He says, "Oh, you've come to see me." He's kind of taken a note of your attendance, and that's what he's doing. Just like in high school, or not maybe high school, but elementary school, he's looking to see if we've shown up, and then he takes more steps towards us and makes us understand that we're serious and committed. So there's a process that's been outlined, and the Bhagavad Gita speaks more about it. But the main point is that we should come to the temple, we should associate with like-minded people, and then our consciousness changes from, things that have been troubling us, bringing us down, to a point where we can think of Krishna as well. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that, whatever you think of at the time of death, you attain that state. So if we think of Krishna when we leave our body, then we'll reach his destination. But to think of Krishna, we have to put the effort and the practice in, and that requires adding Krishna to our lives in different ways. So there's hearing, there's chanting, there's remembering, all these different activities that we do. Yeah. Does that help or any? Okay. Thank you. It's a really good question, and it's very practical that we should follow what's outlined. And bhakti yoga is very, very practical. It's about engaging our senses. So I'll give you an example. Like, what is one way that we can engage our tongue in the service of the Lord? Any thoughts? Like the tongue, by chanting, yes. Also by having prasadam, anything that's been offered. What's a way that one can offer their ears in the service of the Lord? Yeah, by hearing pastimes, hearing the Maha Mantra. So in the same way, we can engage all our senses, the sense of hearing, sense of taste, the sense of seeing. We can see the Lord in front of, see the deities present in front of us. So it's very, very practical, and we just have to, whatever we do, we just add Krishna to our life by using our senses in that way. So thank you for asking that question. Any other comments or questions? These are really nice points and reflections about the practice of bhakti. So it's always nice to hear from each other and learn more about the practice. And we're all here for a reason, that we, are inspired by the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, that we want to go deeper into our spiritual life. And reading the Bhagavad Gita and Prabhupada's purports allows us to really get a first-hand experience of how to take this into our day-to-day practice. Yeah. So we'll continue on to text 20. Would anyone like to read text 20? Yes, please. Would you like to read the Sanskrit as well? I'm just doing a quick time check. So we just have, we only have 2 minutes, so it might be a little bit difficult because the section is also quite long as well. So I think what we'll do is we'll stop here. And one thing I just humbly request is, if you're here for the first time, or if you've come before and you don't have a copy of the Bhagavad Gita, please take a copy home. As mentioned right at the start, this is a guidebook on life.